Let's start with the jolly issues, shall we? Nigeria's having its 50th celebrations later on this year. What's Nigeria planning to do about that?
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity for us to talk to you on the Nigerian 50th anniversary celebration. Well, there's a lot that we're planning to do. First, 50 years is a long while in the life of a nation, and Nigeria has done a lot, so we're going to celebrate the country. We're going to celebrate our history in the last 50 years. We want the world to know what we have done at home in terms of development of the economy, in terms of surviving some of the crises we went through under this period and keeping the country together as a united country. The mechanisms that have been adopted in our country, Nigeria is a very large country of 36 states with over 250 different ethnic groups. A country like this is very diverse, very sophisticated with different cultures. We're going to celebrate these cultures to the world. The story everywhere is about ethnic fighting and so on, but Nigeria experience is a different one. It's a country that's been trying to use this diversity to strengthen itself up. So we want to see these cultures, how these people have been surviving, what the government is doing in all the sectors of the economy. We're going to put a lot of light on the Nigerian economy because right now, as you know, Nigeria is an oil-producing nation with a lot of potential for both gas and oil production. In addition to this, it's also an agricultural haven. A lot of the potentials exist for investors that could come from all over the world. Then we're also going to celebrate our telecoms, the communications industry in Nigeria in recent years has witnessed a lot of expansion following government delegation and invitation to private sectors to come and participate. So a lot of achievements on the economy, politics, culture, all around. We want to celebrate our country to the world to mark our 50 years.
All right, Minister, two things to be proud of is that at this juncture, at 50 years, Nigeria is a burgeoning democracy and you are well over 10 years into a democratic era after years of military rule. So people will be scrutinizing the strength of this democracy, especially as we move towards elections next year. I'd like you to comment on that. But secondly, Nigeria aspires to be a G20 economy by the year 2020. It's an aspiration that many people say is reachable if only you can deal with critical issues like the energy supply issue in the country, infrastructure in the country. How much of an effort is being directed at these solutions?
Well, honestly, relating to the growth of our democracy, I can tell you clearly that in the last 10 years, our democracy has stabilized, it has survived. You know that in the last 50 years, we have had most of our period under military dictatorships. But since 1999, Nigeria has been going through a constitutional process of governance. And in this period, yes, we have had our trials, but you can see that our institutions are growing from strength to strength. So many people have predicted that our democracy will not survive because each time we have a disagreement, the tendency for people to judge us is that, oh, they are going to fall, oh, they won't succeed. But so far we have done so. Our parliament has been working very, very well with the executive. You could see that all the shocks we have witnessed, we have been able to overcome them because the system is learning to adjust to the democratic process, to constitutional rule. The executive arm of government has also been doing very well at different levels. You know, the problem of people outside is that they see governance in Nigeria only at the federal level. But Nigeria is a country of 74 local government councils. All these councils have elected chairmen. They have 3 arms of government. They have the executive arm, the legislative arm, and they are working very well. At the state level, we have 36 state elected governors with their own legislatures, their own judicial systems, and their own executive arms of government. And there are a lot of development projects and programs that are going on at that level. Then you have the federal government. So at all these levels, democratic institutions and structures have been working and adjusting to normalcy in the last 10 years. So yes, we have had trust in the area of electoral process. But you see that our president, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, has been working on this. Recently, he appointed a new INEC leadership. And this leadership has been accepted widely by Nigerians as very credible because they are men and women of honor and integrity. And he has told them, government is not interested, they just want INEC to be independent so that every vote in 2011 and subsequent elections must count. So the processes are going on and we're working hard on them.
Minister, talk to us about the state of the economy. Can Nigeria really be a G20 economy by the year 2020?
Well, I believe, yes, we have strong hopes that Nigeria can be one of the 20th strongest economies in the world by 2020. Why do I think so? One, Nigeria is a country of 150 million people with a young, most of this population is young. So they are vibrant, they are strong, and it is a huge market on its own. There is no country of 150 million in the world now that will be ignored by the international system. So we're a market destination. And I give you an example. Between 2001 and now, when they regulated the telecom industry, a lot of companies have come in, and our telecom industry has grown fastest in Africa. That is just one area. In addition to this, our oil and gas sectors are really making a lot of effort. The initial crisis in the Niger Delta oil producing region, Nigeria has overcome it through its own internal mechanism. We didn't call the world. We entered into an amnesty program. We have resolved that problem. So there is relative peace in the oil producing region, and oil production is going up. We're also looking into gas. As you do know, there was an agreement for a trans-Saharan gas pipeline to Europe between Nigeria and Algeria. Now that project, we believe, will come on. But more importantly, we have been undertaking a lot of economic reforms. As you do know, before now, in the 60s and 70s, we adopted a quasi-socialist system of saying that certain aspects of the economy should be handled by the state, and energy was one of them. As a result of this, private capital couldn't come into the energy sector, and so power generation and distribution suffer significantly. Now, our present leadership, led by Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, our president, we have deregulated the energy sector. We are now asking foreign companies and Nigerians that have the capacity to invest in power generation and power distribution. All the issues associated with this are being handled. And also a lot of investment is going to infrastructure.
All right.
So I believe that between now and then, and 2020, with our focus on economic reforms, with our focus on stabilizing our democracy and ensuring that the country has stable democracy,
right,
with our focus in the provision of infrastructure and human capital development, we should be able to arrive at that destination. And we're calling on the rest of the world to come in. This country is stable.
All right.
You have to come into Nigeria to really know what is going on.
Minister, you've been referring to ICT, and I suppose that's your portfolio, being the Minister of State for Information and Communications, and lots of issues around the need to diversify the Nigerian economy, which you've been at pains to explain to us that the efforts are underway, but still the largest proportion of earnings come from the petroleum sector, and ICT is still making a very, very small single-digit contribution to GDP, and many people are arguing the reason that is so is because the policy that is going to draw in ICT investors is not clear enough. The avenues for financing from Nigerian banks for ICT initiatives are very, very scant. And once you do have vibrant ICT networks set up in the way in which you do through foreign entities operating in the market, you're making it difficult for consumers, issues around SIM card registration. So in terms of the reforms that are needed in ICT to make it a job creator and make it viable for the consumer and make it a significant contributor to GDP, what are you doing?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get you clearly on this question.
ICT as a growth sector, ICT as a job creator, what are you doing? Because the money is not coming from the banks to support the ICT entrepreneurs, and they argue that the policy isn't clear on your part.
Well, I don't know really where those arguments are coming from. But I know that the Nigerian banks have supported a lot of the international telecom companies that are operating here. There's a lot of support from the financial sector. But over and above this, a lot of support has also come from the Nigerian government in terms of helping and stabilizing the situation, in terms of policy and regulation. We have made the environment very, very friendly for them. And also in addition to this, if you look at our tax regime, a lot of these companies that have been operating have been paying taxes that are below the international standards. And the idea is to encourage them because of the challenges they face in the area of infrastructure. But in addition to this, we have the Universal Service Provision Fund that has gone ahead to provide a lot of the critical infrastructure, for the operation of the ITC companies. So it is a challenge between them and the government. But I'm sure from what is going on, the reform, the effort, government is trying to, encourage them. We will reach there. We're in a period of economic transition, economic reform. Definitely, certain things may not be very smooth now for some of the companies that are on ground. but they understand the potential in the market. And also know that in the last couple of years, you know, the profit level on ICT in Nigeria has been quite, on the average, something that is encouraging. So I think if private companies, the government, can work together as the way we're working in terms of emphasizing reform and putting those critical infrastructure that is lacking, I believe that in the next couple of years, they will see the attraction of the investment they are making now in Nigeria.